there, welcome back, Intro Jams in hands. And yep, it's Friday, I can tell, because I'm tired. Hey, real quick before we dive into this lesson, I just want to let you guys know I'm doing a live guitar clinic. If you guys haven't heard about it, I've sent out a couple emails. I have a link down below, you can join in. There are still some spots left. I'm limiting it to the number of people who can join in on this thing. But you can check that out down below if you want to. This week we're talking about adding the major third to your minor pentatonic scale. It is a mighty powerful tool. Let's get it. Hey, welcome back, like I said, to another video. And we're going to talk about, I think, probably the most difficult thing for a beginner to learn. This is just something that's like a constant, struggle throughout your entire playing career. You'll always be faced with this, especially when you're a guitar player. I found, we're very notorious for what I'm about to talk about. So, let me know what you think about this down below in the comments. I'm curious if you guys agree with me on this, but it's kind of difficult because it's one of those things that you just learn with time, and you learn with age, and just, you become wise, or maybe that's it. Here we go. Who are you who is so wise in the ways of science? Let me know who gets that reference. So what I'm going to talk about here is space. Space is one of the hardest things to do as a beginner. Now, like I said, I know this because probably most people at some point, I imagine, were a beginner, unless you're Eddie Van Halen. You probably just started out being excellent. But myself, I remember these beginner phases, and it's really interesting once you're a guitar teacher and you're teaching people, is you get to actually experience this kind of like beginner moment from the other side. You get to watch someone struggling with all the same stuff that you struggled with. And like I said, I noticed one thing that happened a lot. And it was just that a lot of times beginners tend to not want to stop playing. It's just like one constant barrage of notes. So if you're playing over something, sorry, I don't have the best tone for probably like teaching something here, but if they're playing like a pentatonic scale over, if it was something like that, a beginner's gonna kind of be like, it's not gonna have those moments of air, and it's not gonna breathe. And actually, this is just something that you really learn, and I think this is where a lot of phrasing comes from. I've said in other videos that the notes that you don't play are just as important as the ones that you do. So kind of an example, if you're curious what I'm talking about, like I said, this is kind of geared more towards beginner students, but I feel like anyone can benefit from this stuff. Take like a little blues thing like I did a minute ago. There's my rhythm. So behind that, I wouldn't play like this. So technically all those notes are in key, and they're quote-unquote right notes, but it didn't sound very good. It sounded very just taxing on the ears. You're like, oh my God, is he gonna stop? And sometimes it's tough to know when to stop. And this is how you have to learn how to end a phrase. And you can only ever learn this kind of stuff from learning other people's stuff. So I'm by no means a blues guitar player. I've referenced that many times in videos. I feel like I'm just a rock guy. But if I was to play over that, I instinctually now, not in the past, like I said, when I was a younger player, I would be too busy, I would be too shreddy over top of something like this. And as you get older and you just get more experience and you're around other, more advanced and sophisticated players than yourself, you start picking up on little things. And it's like, oh, okay. So, it's the, to be cliche, the less is more kind of thing. But, so over top of that, what if I was like, so, okay, so I'm like a real short phrase. It could be something real kind of like laid back like that, or something like real simple like that. Oh, that's a good little phrase there. So it's not so consistent. I'm just adding to it. I'm going to break down that little intro track that I did here in a second and kind of explain how loopers and all this stuff are a huge asset when you're trying to develop this little style of taking breaths and adding space. So over top of that, I went, okay, then go to the 4 chord, I might be a little bit more busy over the next chord. But again, if you're a beginner, don't worry about the chords. Just worry about the phrases and kind of like, it's like, okay, maybe a short, simple phrase, a little bit more busy. Short, simple phrase, a little bit more busy. Maybe a really long, sometimes it's cool to overplay, So if I was like, oh, sorry, hold on, let me do that again. It was kind of like you wanted it to end, and I just like, I'm going to keep going here a little bit. It's all about, I think, like, I'm talking about dynamics, but do you want a dynamic sound in the delivery of the notes, the way the notes are just being, like, phrased against the backing track? There's so many levels to dynamics. It's not just about, like, oh, am I using my fingers? Am I using my pick? Am I sliding? That's certainly part of it. But to me, dynamics goes in this huge realm of just everything. What's happening to the back, So to me, if I heard this rhythm, to me, that rhythm is pretty busy. So, I take in consideration what the background is doing at all times. So if the background's busy, I'm like, okay, cool, this is my moment to, like, chill. I need to be, basically, like, think of the idea of you become the accompanying instrument to the backing track. A real busy backing track, you're just adding flavor to it at this point. If it's a real chill backing track and there's not much going on, like if this was the backing track, I feel like then it's your job to make that more interesting, because there's not much going on back there. So you might be like, notice how I didn't let the notes die. I kept it, I added vibrato, I sustained the note. So that was a very long phrase there, but I feel like over a simple backing track, it would work. It would work and it'd be okay because it's not just overstimulating for your ears. Now, if I was over there playing like a crazy rhythm, over top of that, I don't think you should be over there, it's trying to, like, keep up with the backing track. It's all about contrast. Whatever's happening in the backing track, do the opposite of it. I'm not saying you can't, meet in the middle sometimes, but I find that beginner players are very influenced by what the backing track is doing. So if it's going fast, they go fast. If it's very busy, they stay busy. So sometimes, like I said, you have to, like, force yourself to hear. I don't know what this rhythm is. Over top of it, it's cool. Sit there and just be like, okay, oh, that's real busy. I'm like, give it some breath. Oh, sorry. Oh, hold on, there's a phrase I want there. Yeah, there we go. But see how, like, I was like, okay, let's backtrack, have its moments, and then maybe I can sit there and keep up with it for a second. I got busy there. There we go. You hear it, and like I said, I'm like, okay, cool. It's about understanding how to not let everything kind of like control you. You need to be in control of what's happening. Even if you can't control the backing track, you can control what you're doing. Like you said, make sure it's always just a welcome addition to what's being played. And it's great to practice this stuff. Like I said, work on, just trying to say a lot with a little, basically. So if I'm, even in that intro track, that I did. There was a lot going on. I'll show you each part that I played. I'm going to break each one down. So the first thing I did was on the baritone. So let me switch to it real quick. Alright, so here's what the gold top was doing initially. I just had that, like I said, that opening baritone line, and I guess I went... So that was happening, and then behind it was actually a clean 335. I went, let's see, boom, 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 boom. That's what the 335 was doing behind it. Like I said, but each one I was filling a different space that wasn't happening there before. Listen, there's another guitar that goes like this. Oh no, I'm sorry, it was B. There you go. And again, the bass line, very, very simple. I was real simple on that one. So that's kind of where that was all coming from. It was all about creating that space. The space needed to be there to make it all kind of flow together. So that was the whole little intro, you know, just a vamp. If you want to know how to really practice this kind of stuff, you know, just to getting better at adding space, think about how you talk. You know, I heard someone use this analogy a long time ago, and it really like registered with me. They're like, whenever you're talking, do you take pauses and take a breath and just like stop? Or is it all one giant run-on sentence where you never say anything other than just the words that you're trying to say? And you do, okay, see, obviously that doesn't work. You wouldn't want to listen to someone who never took a break. And that's the way, you know, I feel like when I'm hearing guitar players, you know, too much is too much. So there, you know, there needs to be this like balance. So whenever you're playing stuff, try to think about that. Because think about it, if there's no space between the notes, does it sound like music? Nope, sounds like scales. We don't want to sound like scales. We want to use the scales to sound like music, not the other way around, you know? So use your scale. It's cool to have those little fast runs in there. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. I did it in the little, like I said, the intro jam. Like the solo was... You know, like that. I wanted that little burst to speed it. Bring it back. You know, there's some breath. So I'm gonna leave it there because, like I said, I already see that the audio messed up. So we'll have to see how this video goes. You might be getting camera audio only on some of it. The video's just a mess. The camera turned off. I will see you all next time. Have a great weekend. And aside from that, yo, peace out, homies. Woo!